Welcome to Chapter 1 of Kin 377, the classification of motor skills. Before we measure anything, before we teach anything, before we treat anyone, we have to be able to talk about motor skills with some precision. That's what this chapter is for. The big idea is right at the top. Classifying skills helps us understand the demands those skills place on the learner. The same person can succeed at one skill and fail at another, not because their bodies suddenly stopped working, but because the demands of the two skills are different. A good practitioner sees those demands clearly. By the end of the chapter, you'll be able to do 4 things. Define actions, movements, and neuromotor processes. Explain 3 classic one-dimension classification systems. Lay out the 2 dimensions in Gentile's taxonomy, and discuss how to use Gentile's taxonomy in your future practice. Take a second to read the objectives on the right. Ready? Let's go. Part 1. We're starting with vocabulary because the words we use to talk about motor skills are not interchangeable in this course. 3 terms, 3 levels, in a strict order of priority. Actions, movements, neuromotor processes. Action is the goal. Movement is the pattern that achieves the goal. Neuromotor processes are the hidden nervous system and muscular activity that produces the movement. The reason this matters, and it really does matter, is that different teaching and rehab decisions live at different levels. When a free throw goes in, that's an outcome at the action level. The elbow flexion pattern that made it go in is a movement level fact. The motor cortex firing that drove the elbow flexion is a neuromotor process. 3 levels, same shot. The chapter spends serious time on the many-to-one and one-to-many relationships between these levels, and on why we should think about them as a priority order for learning. 3 levels. Read them left to right. Level 1. Actions. This is what your textbook also calls motor skills. Goal-directed tasks that require voluntary control over joints and body segments. We're not talking about reflexes here. Eye blinks are involuntary. They don't count. We're talking about purposeful tasks like walking, throwing, catching, drinking from a cup, sitting down. Every motor skill in this course has a purpose, a problem for the mover to solve. Level 2. Movements. The specific patterns of motion among joints and body segments. These are the component parts of motor skills. So if locomotion is the action, then walking, running, hopping, skipping, galloping, those are all movement patterns that can solve the locomotion goal. Level 3. Neuromotor processes. Now we're underneath the skin. Central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, muscular system, the mechanisms that produce the movements. You can't see these with the naked eye. That's why Chapter 2 is going to introduce you to a whole toolkit of measurement techniques. EMG, EEG, fMRI, force plates, designed specifically to reach into this hidden level. The big takeaway here, same movement, 3 views. Same walk down the hall, action, travel from room to room. Movement, heel strike, mid-stance, toe-off pattern. Neuromotor, tibialis anterior activation timing, motor cortex output. 3 perspectives, 3 different questions. Now, the relationship between the levels, and it gets interesting. Many to one means many different movements can serve the same action goal. Different students, different patients, different elite athletes can solve the same problem with completely different patterns. Rick Barry, Hall of Fame basketball player, shot 90% from the free throw line over a 14-year career, granny style, 2 hands between the legs. Every coach in America today would tell a kid not to shoot like that. He was the best in history. Dick Fosbury walked into the 1968 Mexico City Olympics, ran at the high jump bar backwards, arched his back over it, and changed the sport forever. The Fosbury flop is now the only way anyone high jumps. Different movement, same action goal. So when a patient or a student comes to you with their own quirky way of solving a problem, pause before you correct it. Ask whether they're achieving the goal first. The right side of the slide, one to many. One movement can serve many actions. The context decides what the movement is for. The classic example is from the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. In one context, that movement polishes a car. In another context, the same exact movement blocks a punch. Walking on the floor transports you across the room.
Walking on a treadmill is the same movement, but the action becomes staying in one place. Movement is mechanical. Action is purposeful. Same body, different purpose.
Why does this distinction matter for teaching and rehab? Because the 3 levels also represent the order of priority for a learner. Priority 1, understand the action goal. The learner's first job is to grasp what they're trying to accomplish and to explore strategies for getting there, not to copy a movement pattern. We introduce skills as problems to solve, not patterns to imitate. Get the ball through the hoop before square your shoulders to the basket. Priority 2, discover the movement that works. Given this learner's unique body, ability, history, what movement pattern is best for them? Honor diversity here. The therapist who insists every patient walk with a textbook gait is fighting biology. The patient with a knee replacement may need a slightly stiff-legged compensation for the next 6 weeks, and that's fine as long as the action goal is achieved. Priority 3, refine the neuromotor efficiency. Only after a workable movement exists should we polish what's underneath. Timing, force, sequencing, smoothness. Last, not first. The big practitioner mistake is reversing this order. Introducing skills as movement patterns to copy rather than goals to achieve makes learners passive. They become dependent on the instructor. They never develop their own problem-solving capacity. So lock in the order. Goal first, movement second, polish last. Pulling part 1 together. 3 levels of vocabulary. Actions are the goal, movements are the pattern, neuromotor processes are the mechanism. Many movements can serve one action. One movement can serve many actions. And the order in which we prioritize them when teaching matters. Goal first, then movement, then neuromotor refinement. The italic at the bottom is your headline for the rest of the chapter. Skill is the goal solved. Teach the problem before you teach the pattern, and let the learner's body find its own way through it.